Imagine a world in which our emotions take shape in the physical realm. Unable to be silenced, they pester our heads, drown our thoughts, and remind us of our regrets and failures. Some emotions are good. However, just like in life, our good emotions are often trampled on by bad ones, leaving us to face it head on. This idea is portrayed in a game you've never heard of called Sea of Solitude, and it's a game that changed my perspective on life and the emotions of people. One of the things I love about this game is the relatability. The makers of this game don't hold back on bringing in real world issues. It makes it feel less like a game and more like a book or a movie. And while maybe a little over the top sometimes, it creates a deeper sense of immersion and investment in the characters. I also played this game live on stream at twitch.tv/BradyMTS, so if you want to see me play more games like that, be sure to check it out. But while playing it, I was engulfed in the story and taken for an emotional ride. Sea of Solitude is broken up into 12 chapters, following the life of a young girl named Kay and her story. As you progress through the game, Kay is forced to face her past, negative emotions, and her regrets in life. As the player, you get to see Kay's experiences with her family and friends, ranging from her own personal baggage, which is literally represented by her backpack growing in size throughout the game, the issues of her little brother, her parents' relationship, and her relationship with her ex-boyfriend. The game is honestly a masterpiece that evokes human emotion and a sense of immersion in the story. I played the game all in one sitting, so it definitely made it more engaging. One of the first beasts we encounter is likely Kay's self-doubt, which seems to follow her throughout the whole game, telling her she isn't helping, and even though Kay pleads that she's trying her best, the monster tells her it's not enough over and over again. This physical representation of self-doubt is so realistic to our own thoughts. We want so badly to be enough, to be worth it. And even when we try our best, sometimes our brains tell us that we're still not enough. Kay has this baggage on her almost the entire game. And even while trying to help her family and friends, she's still being told she's not doing enough. She sacrifices her own happiness and well-being throughout the story to try to fix the mistakes of the past. The second main beast we encounter is a large bird, which seems to represent Kay's little brother Sunny. Sunny tried to give a warning to Kay about how he was being bullied in school and made fun of, yet she ignores him because she was too busy texting her boyfriend. This is actually one of Kay's largest flaws, because her ignorance and inability to care about what her younger brother was going through ultimately leads to his death. And Sunny tried to come to Kay multiple times over, and even though he pleaded with her to just listen to him, she was too busy with her boyfriend to notice. And I personally don't have a younger sibling, but being the younger sibling in a family, I know it's so important to get affirmations and attention from your older sibling, especially when it's an issue you're having. We get to see the visual representation of Sunny's bullies beating on him and making fun of him. And in this particular example, Sunny's talking about how much he hates gym class, and Kay says that she thought he loved gym class, showing that she doesn't really listen. We then see Sunny in gym class getting picked on and bullied and hit by these people he thought were his friends. He cries because he doesn't understand why he's different from them and why he doesn't understand their humor. And my personal belief on this one is Sunny is a much kinder individual than those guys, and he's very pure of heart and gentle. So it's hard for him to understand what malicious intent might look like. So often in life, we want to be accepted by our peers, even going so far as to call them friends because we have nobody else. Sunny has a toxic relationship with his so-called friends, and Kay doesn't seem to notice until it's too late. We play as Kay and hear her regrets over not paying more attention to her brother, and seeing him get bullied eventually leads to her stepping in and saving him, giving him one last sense of peace. I'm going to let this last little clip from the stream play out, that way you guys can get an experience for it yourselves. This is one that really hit home and really drove in some emotions for me, so I'm going to let you guys just watch it.
Those are not your friends. That's enough! Stop! Sunny, I'm so sorry. I didn't see any of this before. I'm so sorry I didn't listen to you. I'll never abandon you again. I promise, okay? Sunny! Oh. Sunny, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
That's honestly something I really loved about this game, was their emotional storytelling and their ability to bring emotions into people and invest you in a story. And her section with Sunny alone is just an incredible part of the story. And we still got many more relationships to get through, so. Kay's next set of beasts are her mom and dad. Her mom representing some kind of octopus type creature, and her dad representing a chameleon. I actually have a belief about why these animals were chosen. I think the mom is the octopus because, as you find out in the story, she has a lot to manage and just wants to keep things right at home. So it makes sense that she has a lot of arms like an octopus. The dad is represented by a chameleon because he's shifty and changes often. He has shown that his emotions change, his personality changes, and he runs away from confrontation. In the story, Kay's parents are having a tough relationship with one another. Initially, when they first meet, Kay's dad mentions how he eventually wants to have kids, and the mom mentions that she's not sure yet. Later on in the story, when they start to argue and blame each other for things, the dad claims that it was the mom who wanted kids in the first place. The dad is shown to be shifty and change. The first time you see the dad, he's standing on top of a tower that generates heat as if he's angry. But shortly after, he becomes upset, almost as if he's bipolar. Mom just wants them to get closer, so she actually buys a house for them to live in. They both make rash decisions in order for their own happiness. The dad claiming he would be happier alone, and the mom claiming that they would be happier if they spent more time together. We live in a generation where divorce isn't such an uncommon thing, and I love the way this game portrays it, because at first in their relationship, they were madly in love. They could only think of one another. And however, years of failing to compromise and understand, they slowly drift apart, taking out their frustrations on one another. Much like in the real world, Kay feels like it's her fault just because she was born. She feels like her parents would be better off had she not been born. And it takes Kay going around and helping them relive memories and carrying their burden for them to finally understand why the other one is upset. This takes a big toll on Kay, and she ends up passing out. Her parents come together to take care of her and are able to bond and get along. This also represents the idea that it's not Kay's fault, and her parents actually care about her. I love the relationship that their parents have, and I love the way they represent their bonding over Kay. And instead of making it Kay's fault, they make it that Kay is the solution. And I really love that. One of the final beasts that Kay is forced to face is her ex-boyfriend. And Kay feels guilty for her breaking up with her ex-boyfriend. She feels like it's her fault and like she didn't do enough. But as you progress through the story, you see that her ex-boyfriend was manipulative, he was bipolar, and he would go through these phases where he would just go no contact with Kay, and he would just shut himself out from any kind of emotion or any kind of care. And so throughout the story, Kay blames herself because she thinks it's her fault that he's shutting himself out and she should have done more and she wasn't there for him enough. And yet Jack, her ex-boyfriend, just wants to be alone. He wants to be away from her. And he's even represented by a wolf. And on the outside, he's got that icy shell. And then on the inside, you see part of his face breaks off and he shows his true nature. He shows what he really looks like. And so it takes a while for Kay to realize that it's not her fault that he is the way he is. And she shouldn't blame herself for their relationship not working, which is kind of a stark comparison to the one that she has seen through her parents. The game actually does a really good job of comparing Kay's relationship with Jack to the way her parents' relationship worked. And at first they're madly in love and everything's working out great, but as they fail to communicate and go through their own issues and just don't talk to each other about it, they start to grow apart and start to blame each other for their problems. And Kay thinks it's her fault and thinks she can fix it, similarly to how her mother was. And Jack just needs to be alone and wants to be away from it, similarly to how Kay's father was. So the game represents that really, really well, about how history kind of repeats itself through relationships. And we see the same downfall of the relationship that her parents went through, but we don't see the comeback. We don't see them bonding over a child. We don't see them bringing the relationship back together because it just didn't work out and they failed to communicate. So I love the way the game represents that, though. It's real, it's emotionally invoking, and it makes you invested because you know Kay's not at fault, but you're watching her go through these emotions and watching her go through these problems knowing it's not her fault, but it makes you really get a feel for her and the story and the characters, and I really love that about this game. As we enter chapter 11 in the game, we see that it's titled Isolation, which is pretty authentic and pretty representative of how Kay's feeling right now, because we've seen her throughout the whole game carry other people's burdens and help other people through their problems, and yet Kay still sees herself as the monster, and she hasn't fixed her own problems yet, and so she's emotionally struggling because she doesn't know what the problem is and why she's the one that's still alone. So we see Kay go through this journey where she's questioning whether or not to go back into old habits, questioning whether or not to stay alone, and questioning whether or not she's even worth it. And I feel like this chapter is the most real chapter out of all of them. And so many people in their life, especially around their teenage years, we go through these phases where we feel like we should be alone and we feel like we're not deserving of love and not deserving of care. And so in chapter 11, Isolation, we see Kay go through this growth where she's about to fall back into old habits and she's looking for some kind of light, somebody to help her. And I think this is the most real chapter out of the entire game. And I love playing through chapter 11. I love talking about chapter 11 because I think it's just an incredible representation of human emotions and the human experience and how nobody's meant to be alone, and we just crave authenticity and we crave relationships and friendships and we crave fellowship with one another. And I think chapter 11 shows that human track that our minds take, and I think it's really real, and I love the way this game represents it. Shortly after that bit of isolation, we see Kay in her relationship with that girl made out of light that she's been following around this whole game. We see that the girl made out of light wants to help carry the burden and wants to help Kay get through this dark time in her life, which is so important in life to have somebody to help you get through dark times. And her friend is just so representative of love and care, and she's literally made out of light. And it's a great contrast to Kay's self-doubt and her belief that she's the monster and she has to do it alone. And her friend lets her know that she has to let go of her self-doubt in order to grow. She has to trust herself. So I'm gonna let this clip play out, let you guys see it, but it really is beautiful.
What? No! I won't let her be killed by that thing!
It's the only way, Kay. Kay, sometimes, in order to heal, you need to let go.
No! For the first time, I don't feel lonely. I can't lose you.
It's not about loss. It's about change.
I have to trust him. I have to trust myself.
Yo.
Girl? Everyone?
So following that clip, Kay climbs up a mountain and finds the remains of her monsters. They're still alive, they're just much smaller. And it's representative of our real world emotions and the fact that they never really go away, but they get smaller and we learn to manage them and we learn to think positively over them. And she's actually embracing the monsters, which is really a beautiful scene. And it's showing that it's okay to have them, and that all people have them, but she's choosing to feel loved and choosing to accept love, knowing that she's still going to feel bad sometimes. And this game is so beautiful at representing mental health and emotions and relationships with other people. And I just love the way that Kay grows, and when she stops being the monster and learns to have self-love and reduce her self-doubt, you can see the way she grows and see the totally different person that she becomes. So I love the way this game puts human emotions into perspective, and it changed my idea and my representation of human emotions, showing me that it's okay to still have bad feelings sometimes and that it's normal, it's gonna happen. So I really love this game though, and I would definitely recommend playing it if you haven't already. So as the end of the video comes along, I love the title of chapter 12, Feeling Good, and I think it's a great representation of the human experience, and I think this game is awesome at representing emotions and representing mental health. And honestly, it changed my perspective on a lot of things, and it's definitely an incredible game to play. So thank you guys so much for watching the video. I really enjoyed playing Sea of Solitude, and I would definitely recommend playing it yourself. If you haven't played it, get the full experience. Phenomenal game, really, and it touched my heart, changed my perspective on a lot of stuff, so definitely you guys should play this. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button. Let me know what else you guys want to see me do a video essay on, because I'm going to be pumping these out, so make sure y'all boys are watching. That's it, man. I love y'all boys. Peace.